Let's talk about Triple H.
Okay.
He's become kind of interesting, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I haven't, kept up with his career since, 2005-ish, when I got booted out.
Yeah, 2001. I have to turn to my researchers there. He's already with Stephanie, right? That was in 2000, I think they hooked up. So,
yeah, you're right.
what's the backstage like?
Yeah.
What's the perception of Triple H now? Does it all change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Triple H, actually, I sat in the locker room with a weeping Joni, because she was, you mentioned that, was Triple H and Stephanie, were they really an item, or was it a storyline? Or, well, as the storyline developed and they were dating and then got married and Test was involved and all that, it started that they, I guess, were working together so much, that they fell in love. So Joni got the shaft because she really dug that guy as her man. And so she was really distraught, even though she did the Playboy spread and, was now being looked at as a woman because of her Latino heat angle. And, she really got to redevelop her character. And I thought she looked awesome. I mean, it was the best she ever looked. And she just had such razzle-dazzle, and the fans dug her as a good guy. And it was just, and we had 2 shows. I mean, go work on the other show if you can't stand your guy dating this other girl. But she was really distraught about it. And I think that's when her contract came up or something, and she went in and just thought, well, I'll shoot for the hilt and I'll ask for tons of money, and they didn't want to renew her for that much, evidently, is what I hear. And so she left to be a star. So, but I told her when she was weeping and crying, I said, listen, and this is someone now that's, you don't really think of as a friend, but here she's now being a girl. And I said, listen, you know what this place is like. And would you want to be here in 10 more years doing the same old thing? You've done so much here. Move on, go, do something else. And just remember that because Triple H is now with Stephanie, they're stuck. He's going to be doing this for the rest of his freaking life. Now, that might be something he wants to do, and that's great. He's found his spot because he can do no wrong now. Now, 2 things to think about, and I used to tell this to Stevie Richards too, and anyone who would ask me. I'd say, 1, do you want to be here forever or go do other things? And 2, do you really want to work under Triple H with Stephanie? Do you want to work with Triple H McMahon? What's going to be in store for your career? Is it going to be fun here? No! So, I think we all collectively had a really great run. We were there at a super great time. Some people there, that were before me, lots of the guys, I mean, God, that was the best time. But thereafter, I think it just got to be the pits.
All right.
We had a really fun wrestler's court involving Triple H when he became, I guess it must have been around that time, when Triple H, was kind of, Stone Cold was kind of out by then, right? Wasn't he kind of starting to misbehave or
not
something?
Not in 2001, I don't think. He's still
when was
active
it?
in 2001, a little later than that.
Yeah, okay, a little later than that, but Triple H was definitely vying for his, upper card spot. I mean, he's always been, the upper card player, but he was really, you just could always see him seething around Stone Cold and Rock. It's like, where's my, I want to have it. So anyway, then in my perception anyway. And and of course Undertaker too is one of those big guys, right? So we had a wrestler's court. It was when we had the first batch of divas in. And the girls, I think I must have been, this must have been later, because I was doing Experience, I think. Yes, this was way later.
Yeah.
But Triple H decided the divas got brought to court on the charges that they legitimately lost in Dodgeball on a pay-per-view against the Divas. And this must have been, I guess, the 2nd or 3rd batch of divas, new divas, bikini girls. So the wrestlers thought that this was just horrible and a real admonishment to, women as athletes, and they made a big deal out of it. So Molly Hawley came to me, and I got together with everybody for just pay-per-views because I was doing WWE Experience. And she came running to me at a pay-per-view, and she said, we need an attorney. We need a defense attorney. Will you be our attorney? And I said, sure, yeah, I'd love to. what's the deal? What's the charge? What's happening? So they filled me in, and they had an actual defense, kind of a ruse they wanted me to pitch. So the funny thing, though, is that Triple H decided he was going to be the judge. And, of course, that's always Undertaker. So that right there set a precedence to, oh, this is like a different kind of, it's like Judge Judy. You know, this is a TV version of Wrestler's Court, you know? Plus, what a stupid trumped-up charge. It was just silly. It was kind of like, well, I don't know why the cameras weren't in there. Mm-hmm. I wish they were, though, because it was one of my highlights of my career. So we had, let's see, Sean Morley was the other, you know, what do you call that? The prosecuting attorney?
Yeah, prosecuting.
And I was the defense attorney for the Divas, the real athletic Divas. And Triple H was the court, the judge. So what I did was we said that the girls, because it's wrestling, the athletic, what should I call them? The women's wrestlers, women wrestlers. They, it was a work. You know, we had to let them win. So of course, you know, the guys weren't having it. They weren't going to accept that. So we kind of got a bum deal. I did a very dramatic. It was a super performance. You know, I ripped my jacket off at one point, and I got to shut Coachman down. It was awesome. I said, because I was all working about. I was talking about the work in wrestling. I mean, how dare we even be in court to educate a room full of wrestlers about the work? It's a work. That's what we do here, folks. We put people over. My clients are the real wrestlers. These are the girls that have been taking bumps to make it on this show. Now the company has taken a new turn, and it's up to us, the famous ones, to make nobodies that don't even have any talent somebodies. It's a work. So what are we going to do? Are we going to put them over in the ring? I hope not. Not yet. Let's put them over in a dodgeball game. It's a work. I said, you guys know what a work is? Things are changing. Times are tough. You know, I said, why? And then Coachman said something. I said, why are you even in Wrestler's Court? You're not a wrestler. You don't even belong here. Good hub in the room. Lots of laughter. I said, on that note, who's going to be the next one of you wrestlers that have had 20, 25-year careers putting him over as a wrestler in the ring? Which one will it be? Will it be you? Will it be you? Will it be you? Everyone's going with it now. So the only way that they tried to shut me down was Triple H kept saying, Ivory, that's enough. Ivory, that's enough. You talk too much. You talk too much. But it was all good stuff. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. Just like women in a man's show. Once the divas start rising to the top, the Wendy Richters, you know, any kind of an element of women's wrestling comes and gets higher ratings, it just disappears. Same thing with right to censor. Gone. So, same thing with my defense attorneyism. It was shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. It's too hot. It's too ripe. So, we even had the prosecutors had the bimbo divas up there, you know, to answer questions, and they didn't even know what a squared circle was. They didn't know, you know, we gave them questions about wrestling. They had no idea what was going on. So I think we would have won, but the guys it was just a ruse, you know, they didn't want us to win. So then came the time to bribe the judge. This even gets better. So normally the guys would bring in, a case of beer or something for the judge, and that always worked to lighten the sentence, right? Well, what we did was, this was now back when he had rules that all the wrestlers had to go around and like dress slacks and shirts and stuff. And, come on, you're staying at the Red Roof Inn, crying out loud. You got to walk out of there in your nice suit to go work out, and then put your nice suit back on to go to a freaking dump arena.
Oh, even to work out?
Oh, God. You were always
drive
to be seen.
to the gym?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're always to be seen in, like, dress clothes.
Wow.
Stupid. So, anyway, so what we did to bribe the judge for a lighter sentence was I packaged up a gift certificate to the Red Roof Inn, and we offered that to Triple H. And, of course, everybody knows that, he always stayed and had been staying for years at the TV hotels, which is, a nice hotel, a Marriott, a Hilton, a something nice. And he would never, ever use a gift certificate to the Red Roof Inn. So I presented it to him in a really humble way, and the whole room just like fell out. They were just totally digging it.
Well done.
It was really good.
Well done. You should
Right
have had
on.
a camera in there.
They should have, man.
They should have.
Best part was shutting Coachman down, though.
Poor coach.
I've always said to any interviewer, and I'll say it to you, Sean,
Go ahead.
that I think Stone Cold was the most honest performer in wrestling. Unique and honest. Just everything you saw is what the guy was about. And, you know, I don't think that any performance is, you know, you got to doctor it up and, you know, you watch and you know, I should have done more of that, but you watch and you study and you take what works and you know, you build from your past performances. I'm sure he did a little bit of that, but I think most of it was just, you know, him. I think he was just really honest in the ring, and it showed.
Mm-hmm. Did you read it?
I did read it,
What did you think?
and I thought it was okay. It was a WWE book.
Yeah.
They don't really ever have very good writers, but, you know, I learned stuff about her, and I thought it was okay. It's better than Kurt Angle's book. That one was a puker.
What was
So horrible. It was like everything was ride the fence on everything. You know,
Poor-
oh, I really hated that DuPont guy, but then I really respected him too. It's like, ugh, it's horrible.
What was the
Poor guy. I don't think he wanted to write a book, though. He wasn't ready. They just made him.
Well, can they make
Kurt
you?
Angle.
Or they just wave a whole lot of money under your nose and you do it?
I think, well, they get book deals, you know, so they have like 5 or 10 at a time. And they, you know, it's just like programming for television or cable or something. They, you know, it's like, oh, what are we going to do with the space? So let's write a book about you. And here's a ghostwriter that you don't know, and he's not really a good writer. But so a lot of that stuff, you know how they talk about a Beyonce having all this image control. You know, talk about zero image control. That's what we have.
Stephanie McMahon makes a promo on this show that draws a little bit of criticism. She likens the war on terror to her father's battle with the U.S. justice system. Does she get a pass for this? Do you remember anything?
I don't remember her doing it.
So it obviously
Because I did one, and everybody loved it so much. I didn't hear about the bad. I only heard good stuff.
Okay. For the record, Lita pins you with the moonsault that night.
How dare. Did she land it? Or did she land on my head that time?
I don't know. But you got to work the show, that live 9/11 show, which is a testament.
Yeah, and that was kind of a, that was also neat in that these shows were always good shows where we, you know, just good stuff happened. It wasn't about competition. It was baby faces getting their moves on. It wasn't about building storyline. It was always just, if you don't want to wrestle or you can't wrestle, don't, you know, just don't. It was always up for grabs. They never forced anything on you. Same with after Owen. You know, when Owen passed, that night was really freaky. That was weird and hard to go out. I remember Deborah had to go out like right after that happened.
But no one had known that he
Freaky.
died
And
yet,
Jeff.
right? That was a thing that they kind of...
It's pretty gross. It was, you know, it was like he stopped bleeding, you know, when he was down there. So it was like, okay, nothing's happening. So we pretty much, I don't know, there was that kind of that hopeful thing of like, oh, maybe, you know, you just never know. They're so good in hospitals now, and doctors, there's so many great gadgets they can use on people. But it was pretty, pretty bad. So that one was a hard one to move through. Everybody had a hard time on that one. Nobody's heads were in the game, you know? It was just all about what the hell just happened. It was just one more thing to go have to do. That's how everything was.
More money, though.
What,
More
no,
money?
not more money.
A different network had to be more
Well,
money.
but I didn't. When I was a guest, it was just
even
one more
as
thing.
a guest, you just had
When
to
you're-
do it?
Oh yeah, you
boy.
just show up. It's just like one more thing that you have to like stay away from home for one more day, or delay your flight or something. But the neat thing about being in Connecticut, though, is you got to stay at the Westin.
It comes down to the hotel for you very
It
often. doesn't it?
does.
How's this place okay?
Because
Just meet your standards?
yes. But we had my thing too was like I was kind of intimidated, because I never had any real wrestling training, really, like a coach or anything. So it was kind of intimidating to be the superstar and go in there and like, what am I going to do? Go in there and tell them how it's done, please. So I just thought to myself, hey, the best thing I like about wrestling is just doing it. So I'm just going to join in and sweat with the kids. That's going to be my workout. So that's what they liked so much about my appearance on that show, was that I jumped in and started going to town with them. So I think that's what instilled the idea of me being a trainer.